Hey everyone, this is David from Curious Red. I've created this short video to show you how to get the perfect fit on your Makus.
Start off by wearing the sandal to get a feel for it. The first thing you want to do is position your foot on the sole in the right way. And so what I mean by that is you want the edge of the gap between your toes to align with the toe hole in the sole. So more practically, you can think of the skin between the edge of your toes that wants to align with the edge of the toe hole, kind of around here. And so you want to position your foot in that area so that you know what is the ideal setup. And then you get a feel for the different ropes. So whether this rope is pulling too tightly on your leg or whether this one is, and so then you get an understanding of what you need to adjust in order to maintain this position on the sandal. So if, for example, you notice that this rope is too tight, if you don't adjust it and you start walking with the sandal, what's going to happen is over time, or rather quickly, the rope is going to push your foot towards the front, and you're going to find yourself in an uncomfortable, unnatural position. So in a nutshell, you find the right position based on the edge of the gap and the rope, and then you get a feel for the different ropes and how they need to be adjusted.
After that, you want to take the sandals off. It's very difficult to adjust them while wearing them. First thing is you'll notice there are 3 sections to the rope. The front part, the middle part, and the back part. You'll start with the front part. It starts at the toe and then goes around here and into the sole and then back out from the other end. You want to first, if you notice here, there's a groove. You want to lock it off of the groove, otherwise it's going to be difficult to move the rope. And then you'll either be able to push it or pull it, depending on whether you want to lengthen or shorten. So let's say this part here is too long, so you want to take some slack. You're going to hold it from the bottom with both ropes at the same time and then pull. You want to pull just slightly. Think of roughly 1/5 of an inch or 1/2 centimeters. That does make a meaningful difference. And if this is too tight, you're pulling in the opposite direction. So you find the top and then you pull. Once you're done with that, you can move on to the back. If you'll notice, this rope goes from above down and loops into the back rope, which is what we want to switch next. And it's the same principle here. One thing that I should mention is once you're done, you want to lock the rope back into this groove. On the other side, once you're ready to work on the back strap, you do the same thing. So you first pull the rope down so that it's out of the groove, and then you can either pull it up or down depending on whether you want to lengthen or shorten. So if in this case we want to shorten this, I'll hold both of the bottom ropes and I'll pull them down, again not too much. And if I want to lengthen from here, I'll hold this and I'll pull up. And finally, I'll put this back into the groove. This brings us to the final strap, which is the middle one that has a red link. You'll notice that it comes out from here. Let me see, like this, yeah. It comes out from here, loops in, comes back, and is attached to itself with the red link. One thing to note about the red link is that you have an upper pair of rope and a lower one. The upper pair is fixed. It is connected to the red link. It is the lower one that is going to slide in either direction. So in order to adjust this, let's say in this case I want to increase the length. What I'll do is I'll brace the outer edge with the left hand, or in this case, and then hold the other rope and then pull them apart. That'll create more space. If I want to shorten it, I do the opposite. I'll brace the inside edge with my fingers of the red link, and then I'll hold the other ropes and then I'll pull them apart again to tighten it. You may feel some resistance when pulling here. Don't be afraid to pull hard. This is by design so that it holds firmly.
After all that, you can put the sandal back on to check the fit again. So as before, you want to get a sense of how these ropes are pulling or pushing on your foot, and whether the tension is too strong, that it's uncomfortable, or that it's moving your feet in the wrong direction, left to right, top or bottom. And you can repeat the adjustment steps if needed. So a good rule to keep in mind is that generally these two straps, so the back one and the center one, are the ones that are going to be primarily responsible for the lengthwise position of the sandal. What that means is whether it's too much to the front or too much to the back. The front rope is the one that's primarily responsible for the rotation of the sandal. So if this is too loose, for example, you might end up having the sandal rotate too much when you walk. And so to address that, you'd probably want to tighten this. Another quick test that you can do is using your fingers to assess the tension of these ropes. One thing to keep in mind is that this rope behaves a bit like memory foam. So if you pull on it too strong, it'll retain that stretch for a bit before taking back its original shape. So when doing this test, you want to just lightly use your fingers. So in this case, what I mean is you want to try to place a couple of fingers under here. So in my case, I can probably place 3 fingers, not much more, without pulling again, and I sort of get a firm response. And that's about right. You want to put 3 to 4 fingers here. For this one here, it's really 2 to 3. So I'm going to try to put fingers here, and I can see that by pushing a bit, I can probably put 2 fingers, which is about right. The back one is always about 2 fingers. So again, I'll put 2 fingers and it'll feel a bit tight, which is fine. I'm not pulling, just testing. And so I do seem to have the good fit.
To summarize, you're going to first start off by wearing the sandals and getting a feel for them. So whether the position is right, whether you get too much tension from one of the ropes, and whether your toe hole is touching lightly with the rope out here. After that, you take it off and you do adjustments without wearing the sandals. You always want to start off with this rope, the front rope. And as we said, you unlock it from here, pull in either direction to lengthen or shorten, then you lock again. You move on to the back rope. On this side, you want to unlock and again pull in either direction. Once you're done, you lock, and then you move on to the red link, where you brace on one end and hold the ropes and pull apart if you want to lengthen like this, or you brace on the inner part, hold the ropes and pull apart to shorten the rope. After that, you can wear them on and get a feel for them again. Remember, the adjustments of these 2 ropes are going to adjust the lengthwise position of your foot, whether it's too much to the front or to the back. And this one here will be the focus of any rotation. So if this is too loose, your feet could be misaligned with the sandal, so you may want to tighten these. And finally, remember the finger test if you want to try that out. So when you wear the sandals, up front you should be able to put 3 to 4 sandals, but not more, fingers, sorry, but not more. In the middle rope, it's around 2 to 3 fingers and feel some firm pressure, and in the back, it's 2 fingers. Remember not to pull, because this is somewhat elastic, and so the test wouldn't work that way. At this stage, your sandal behaves like a slip-on. So you just put it on and put it off without having to adjust the fit anymore. The only exception is during the first week or so, as your sandal molds to your foot and the rope adjusts your foot as well, you may experience a bit of loosening, and you may want to do some micro adjustments to match that. But as soon as that's done, you shouldn't need to adjust the fit anymore, and it should last you for as long as you wear them. Next, I want to talk about a few common issues that we see. So it's possible that once you try fitting your sandals and you move the rope so much that it becomes a bit weird and you're not really sure how to reset it again. So I'm going to show you a quick way to do this. So in this case, for example, you'll notice it's kind of weird. We're not sure what's going on here. What you want to do is go back to the three straps the three sections of rope that we had talked about. There's the front rope here, there is the red link, which is the middle rope, and then you separate the third rope, which is the bottom rope, from it. So you do that like this, and once you do that, you can see that everything looks a bit out of proportion. But what we can notice by looking at this is that this is way too long and this is probably too short. And so what that means is we want to go through the steps of shortening this and lengthening this. In this case, if you remember, this section goes in here and goes out from here. So I can unlock this, and so to shorten this, I'm going to pull in a bunch of slack so that it feels fairly right, and then I'll put it out from the other side, lock it in, and check how that looks. If I show it to you, then it looks fairly normal. This is how you do it. Another common issue is when the back strap is falling down. So the first thing that I'll mention is the back strap's position is supposed to be somewhat low. Around here is right. It's not going to be this high. So if people are expecting that, just note that this is a normal position. It may feel a bit odd at first to some of you, but this is totally fine. What I mean by the back strap is falling is if it's obviously completely down. And so the first thing to try is to tighten this back portion here using the method we discussed before. Now, if even after tightening this, the back strap is still falling to the heel, then what you want to try tightening instead is the middle rope here, the one with the red link. Because what that does, if you'll notice, if I tighten this up, you'll notice that both of these ropes go up. And so it'll end up holding this on your heel better if it's falling. And that's it for now. If there's anything else you'd like to see or you have questions, just send us a note at hello@curiousred.com. And please do send us your feedback about all of this, but also your experience using your Makus. It means a lot to us and we take it seriously. So we'd love to hear from you. Thank you.